Hello, folks. Dustin Zarni here. Not commissioner in a car again. It's commissioner in a chair because I am still without my car. I have a part on order and it's coming in. So it had to go back into the shop. And so I'm back in my home studio here. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks I'll be back in the car. But I did want to get this podcast out, because it's kind of an important time going on right here, and it's not even about this year's election. It's about 2024. The Onondaga County legislature and executive are in the midst of deciding on the budget for 2024. And, of course, the Onondaga County Board of Elections is a part of that. The way budgets work is that the elections commissioners will get together and give their estimates of what they need to spend to operate the department, including running the elections for the upcoming year. That goes to the county executive's office. The county executive then, makes a determination about, what our determinations are, and then puts forward a budget to the legislature. And then the legislature then hears from department heads that they choose to bring in, and they make adjustments to that budget. We're either raising or lowering amounts, adding positions, cutting positions, that kind of stuff. And then the budget is finally has a public hearing and is voted on by the legislature and then signed by the executive. So I wanted to let you know that we actually are in a little bit of a problem right now. So my co-commissioner and I, bipartisan staff, put together what we believe we need to spend to cover the 3 elections that we have next year. We have a presidential primary, April 2nd, and a June primary, which will likely be the congressional primary, and then the general election that will be in November. And in all of those, of course, we need inspectors to field those elections. And we're having a major disagreement with the county executive's office about how much that's going to cost us for next year. Now, I have to be honest, I'm a little perplexed about why we're in this disagreement, since this is not really about, not really about wishes in the office. We also have a disagreement on the number of employees that we need to have, and a lot of other things. But the major disagreement is over the election inspectors. And the county executive's office took the take that they would just take what we spent in 2016 and what we spent in 2020 and add 10% to that. It rose 10% between 2016 and 2020, so it should only rise 10% between 20 and 24. And even though we've given our testimony on that and quite a bit of data to show exactly how many inspectors need to be fielded, we have sections of election law 3404, which requires us to either field 4 inspectors for every election district or have an alternative staffing plan, which we do in Onondaga County to save Onondaga County money. And be more efficient as well. Whether we, but so we have to field so many inspectors. And even though we've given them that data, they have not talked to us about that data. They have pretty much ignored every meeting request. So now it's up to the Onondaga County legislature to resolve this issue. And it's not a small issue. We are off by over $1 million for our budget in total. This includes new permanent employees. We have the least staffed permanent employee to voter ratio in the state. Those of you who've been following me know that I've been talking about that my entire time as commissioner. And though we've added staff the last 2 years, we're still the least staffed by a lot. Temporary employees that we always have in a presidential election to deal with the large influx of voter registration forms that we normally get. In fact, in 2020, we hired 12 of those temporary employees, and we're only asking to hire 6 of those this time because we have added 4 people, and also because we're going to hire them for longer. We're going to hire them for all of the year. Remember, in 2020, COVID shut down our office for a couple of months. And also then, of course, the election inspectors. And there's a lot of differences between 20 and 24. We have full day primaries now, so that means the inspectors have to work longer hours. They're being paid minimum wage instead of under minimum wages, which was probably illegal before that. They are IRS employees, so they have hour-long sexual harassments, which makes our training longer. And the grants that used to cover some of this stuff has run out. The federal grants, the state grants that cover some of this stuff has run out. Now it's up to the county to pay for this. And this is not something that is new. We've been paying for this stuff all along. But I don't understand why we're at this impasse. That doesn't mean, though, that this is not over. I have great faith the Onondaga County Legislature will take up this issue and hopefully address it. And they vote on this budget October 10th. However, there is a public hearing on this budget on October 5th at 5:30. That's this Thursday at 5:30. If you want to hear, make your voice heard, you can do it in writing and submit it to Onondaga County Legislature before 3 p.m. that day to be part of the public record, or you can go to the meeting and speak at the meeting as well. There's, and I'm not just saying talk about it for the Board of Elections. No, talk about it about every part of that budget. It's your budget. You're a taxpayer. You should be heard on this issue. So, we, again, are about $1 million short going into a presidential election. That's a lot of money. And I wish that that I was able to convince the executive's office to even meet with us. That has not happened as well. They have just ignored our request to meet, or ignored our data, and now it's up to the legislature to fix this. And I hope they will. And I believe they will. But so tomorrow I'll be releasing on my website our testimony. And you'll be able to read that along with the data that we submitted to the legislature. This is bipartisan testimony from Commissioner Sardo and myself. And I'll be putting that up on the website early tomorrow morning. And hopefully you can see the issues. And, the testimony is pretty long because it goes into the exact data and why things need to be. And I'll probably be putting in some testimony at the public hearing. I haven't decided whether I'm going in person or writing a supplemental testimony, a one-pager that will outline all this, since they already have that. Another thing that's going on right now is Speaker of the House, and my friend David is in the chat talking about that. We witnessed a historic day today. Kevin McCarthy, the current Speaker of the House, became the first Speaker in history of the United States to be vacated from the House, from the House. He's no longer Speaker of the House. And in fact, at this late breaking hour, one of the reasons I'm doing this a little late is I wanted to see what I could find on, what is going on. And unfortunately, we have no idea because this is kind of unprecedented. But he has decided that he will not vote, or he will not run again for Speaker of the House. And he is, and there will be a new speaker. But we won't know that for a while because let's talk about what happened today. Was the Republicans, 10 Republicans, filed a motion to vacate the speaker. You may remember when Kevin McCarthy became speaker earlier in the year, it took 15 votes. And one of the things that he had to agree to is that if any one member of Congress decides that they want to vacate the speaker, they can issue the rules, or they can issue the motion, and they have to vote on it. A vote was held earlier today to table that motion. That vote failed because no Democrats and 10 Republicans refused to vote to table the motion. Tabling means you set it aside, you don't actually have a vote. So then they had to have a debate and vote on whether to oust Speaker McCarthy. And Democrats, who have never been in favor of Speaker McCarthy, did not vote to keep him. And the 10 Republicans, I think it ended up being 8 Republicans, actually continued to vote against him. And because the Republicans only have a 5-seat majority, Kevin McCarthy was ousted as the Speaker of the House. Our own Representative Brandon Williams, Republican, voted to keep Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. And that was asked in the chat there by my friend David. But somebody asked why Democrats wouldn't vote to keep Kevin McCarthy and why they sided with some of the more right-wing Republicans. I think it's more about not them siding with the right wings, but whether they can trust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, and whether Kevin McCarthy did any outreach to Democrats hoping to win their support. In fact, this is the same Speaker that started questionable impeachment hearings against Joe Biden in an effort to save his speakership. He's the same Speaker that made a deal with President Biden during the funding limit debates, and that deal was about how to keep the government open, and then reneged on that deal, and that's what found us in the government shutdown talks earlier this week. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was really about the fact that after the Democrats voted to keep the government open, saving McCarthy and America, really, and McCarthy, agreeing to McCarthy's 45-day clean resolution that still goes against the deal he made with Joe Biden later on last week. Then he went on the Sunday shows this weekend and just blamed it all on the Democrats. I think that was the final straw. But I think David also put in the chat about January 6th. There's still be a lot of distrust from Democrats and Republicans over the January 6th insurrection. And Kevin McCarthy, on the floor of the House after January 6th, said that Trump should resign. He also blamed it on Trump. And then 2 years later, when he wanted to be Speaker, he traveled down to Mar-a-Lago, took pictures with Trump, and endorsed him for president again. And and really kind of brought him back out, and has done a lot of things to inhibit the January 6th Commission. He ousted Liz Cheney from leadership because she joined the January 6th committee. He did a lot of things about giving over the tapes to Tucker Carlson. There's a lot of things about January 6th that Kevin McCarthy did not play straight with the American people. And I think that went towards the bad will that he has with Democrats, and the Democrats weren't going to vote to save him. Now, we don't know what's going to happen next. This is a weird moment in time for America, for the House Republicans. The House Republicans have the majority. This has never happened before. And we didn't see the 15 votes like in American history like we saw in January. So we have a very chaotic House caucus right now that can't even agree with each other. And they're also, part of their disagreement is that, they shouldn't work with Democrats at all. And because there is a solution to this. The solution would be a true unity government. A speaker from the moderate wing of the Republican Party that needs Democratic votes to become speaker, and a power-sharing agreement. That could be a solution. But it doesn't seem like that is on the table with it for anybody on the Republican side. So instead of actually working through this and giving America, a government, a functioning government, the House Republicans and the pro temp chair went into a private meeting where Kevin McCarthy announced that he wasn't going to run for Speaker and decided to take a week off. The House is in recess till next Tuesday. So we have no idea how this is going to go. So probably know what my Commissioner Carr is going to be about next Tuesday as well. Although I would really love to be talking about a good budget and the election as opposed to this other stuff. So, but I can't not comment on what has happened in the House earlier today. So that's all I got for Commissioner in the Car this week. My Zoom with Zarni on Thursday will be the Village of Solvay Democratic candidates. And then my weekly wonk, I'm doing Onondaga County Ledge District 7. This last week, I'm going to be doing Onondaga County Ledge District 10 this weekend, which is probably the most watched race in the county legislature about whether a race can be flipped or not, as it's been the closest race in the last 3 or 4 cycles. So stay tuned for that. Of course, you can watch all of this and get everything you need on DustinZarni.com. And hopefully I'll be back in the car next week, but maybe the week after, because of the UAW strike, my parts that I have ordered to make my car safe are not going to arrive in a timely period, and that's okay. I'm very lucky. I have a great job, and and thank you, Dave. I could have used your car, but that's okay. But I have a great job, and I have a lot of support structure around me. So waiting a few weeks for my parts, because brothers and sisters in the UAW are fighting for living and good wages and fair profit sharing, that's a small price to pay. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later on this week. Bye-bye.